Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to Big Blend Radio's Writers and Authors Show. We air the show every second Tuesday with our friends over at Books Forward, and you can keep up with them at booksforward.com. We've been working with them for, I think, over 20, 25 years. However long we've all been going, we've been doing it together in regards to books. Anyway, so we've got Emmy Award-winning creator Jake Wheeler joining us to talk about this amazing middle grade graphic novel. It's super fun. It's called The-Gullfather-Birdsy-Seagulle. Volume 1, A Seahawk Situation, is out. So I like it when you hear Volume 1 because you know Volume 2 is coming. And this is one of those series you're going to want to get your hands on for your kids. Yeah, middle grade, but I'm saying it's fun for adults too. You can go to The-Gullfather.com. Jake wrote this with his friend Jeff-Sitaikis. And so welcome to the show, Jake. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Now, did I pronounce Jeff's last name correctly? Because I always mess up everyone's names.
Yeah, that's a hard one. That's a tricky one anyway. He pronounces it Sitaikis.
Sitaikis. Okay.
Sitaikis. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, it's
that sounds like a medical word. Like he should be in a medical dictionary. Sorry, Jeff. If you're not on the show, you may get put into a dictionary. But no, Sitaikis. Okay, I got it. Jeff-Sitaikis. How did you guys meet? I want to get into The-Gullfather, but I feel like we need to set up the scene about the two of you to get to the point of how this happened. So where did you both meet?
We met in college in mid to late 90s, dating myself a bit. And up in Boston. And we were good friends from freshman year onward. And after graduation, he moved to the New York area and I moved out to the West Coast. And I don't know, I didn't have any plans on ever coming back to once I got to the West Coast. I said, this is amazing. And eventually though, I made my way back to New York. I got transferred back and we kind of rekindled we always stayed friends, but we were in close proximity and we started kind of doing creative stuff together. We got a few opportunities and it was just sort of a natural partnership. And I think the time away had sort of let us realize how fun it was to be together and be creating. And so, yeah, it's been a 20-year odyssey of sort of creating in different ways and formats since then.
Wow. Because I know you've done a lot in advertising content together, won a number of awards. Both of you are Emmy winning, right? Was it the same Emmy award together or separate?
Yeah, Jeff won the Emmy, not me. I can't take credit for that. He won it for an interactive documentary called The And. It was about relationships. Oh. And yeah, we've won a bunch of advertising awards together. They kind of, the industry has a few kind of shows where they kind of honor creative work. And yeah, gosh, we've done so many. We moved to Alabama and we shot a documentary together, lived down there for 6 months, doing a documentary in college football. Yeah, just kind of life on the road sort of thing. We've been in development with Comedy Central and had the LA movie agent or movie and TV agents, did that whole thing. Now we're doing graphic novels. We've written children's books. I helped develop a show that's on Disney Plus right now, Renovations with Jeremy Renner.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's this kind of long creative journey and we're in different places again now, but because of that time together, there was a time where we were roommates and creative partners and probably weren't more than 5 feet away from each other for a period of 5 years straight. And so now I feel like one could be on the moon and one could be on Mars and we kind of be able to connect and create together. So yeah, it's a great friendship, great working relationship.
I think there's something about friends from college or high school and stuff. Like I just reconnected with my high school friend from South Africa and we haven't seen each other in this dating ourselves 30 years or something. And apparently I'm getting older because I keep thinking I'm younger and she keeps reminding me that I'm going to turn a different age real soon. And I'm like, you need to shut up and not tell anybody. Like, you're my buddy. Like, the secret code and you're letting it out. And she's like, I know, but I know you. And that's a thing. Doesn't it happen with friends like that they know you, like there's no BSing. Like you cannot,
Yeah.
yet when they know you from your prime of your life of knowing your goals and what you're striving from, and then like for, not from, for, and at the same time, the shenanigans, even, you know what I mean? There's that two-part thing going at that
Yeah,
age time.
you go through your formative years together. You probably get in a little bit of trouble together, and yeah, you kind of explore, a lot of your first, real explorations of life on your own, aren't with not being with your parents, are with sort of these friends. And yeah, and so I think at a different level than you do anyone later in life, especially anyone you maybe meet professionally, right? Like, because that professional pretense is sort of always there. But the people, yeah, you met in a dirty dorm room some 30 years ago, you know them in a different way,
So now you guys write a middle grade graphic novel. So are you both parents?
I'm not. I'm an uncle to 4, and I'm a dog dad to 2, and Jeff is a father to 3, 2 girls and a boy. Yeah.
Listen, dogs and kids get along. Like I put them in the same, quadrant there.
Yeah.
But I know there's human versus the fur, but they're all babies, but they both keep us amused. So, like seriously, I want to say The-Gullfather. Nancy and I both love this. Number one, it does make me feel like going back to Mad Magazine days, because yeah, and the fact that it's middle grade, but you balance the line of letting kids have that I'm going to say grit, edginess, coolness, badassery, because you even use the word in there. I'm like, they said badass, but you don't cross the line. And it's like you're not dumbing down things for kids. And I feel so many times it's like the middle grade age, they are way aware of things more than I think what adults know. And if you can't talk down to them, so writing for them, you have to kind of be right there. Did that kind of cross how you were writing it about, like, at the same time, don't make the parents mad if you say something wrong. You know what I mean?
Totally. And so a couple ways to sort of talk about it. One is you want the parents to be involved in it, but something that the parents and kids both like. And Pixar was probably and Disney to an extent, right, did it the best that way, right? Where the kids would want to watch the movie and the parents kind of wanted to watch the movie too, right? Or at least didn't dislike watching the movie. And so that was one of the line we tried to straddle, was like, what's that formula where, the kid could really like it and it would feel a little bit edgy and adventurous, and the parent might actually, like it too, and wonder what's up with these characters and engage with their child. Especially dads. A lot of times the dads aren't part of the reading process; it's all the moms. And we thought is just even the subject matter, right? Gangster seagulls, the Gullfather. Is that something where so dad can play more of a role, and sort of, he gets the humor that the parent gets from, generations of watching mafia films and the gangster humor that we know from Goodfellas and just the whole genre. And there'll be jokes for them, and the kids can like it because there's great art, there's great illustration. The characters.
Oh my gosh, who did the illustration? Because they're amazing.
It was a team out of Spain and Taiwan. They'd done work for Marvel in some places.
Wow.
Sherman Torres and his team. Really good. Like, and that's one of the things because we write in other formats. I'm working on a novel now, but with graphic, it's collaborative. And when you find the right people, and we know this from our advertising days where you'd work with teams and you'd work with art directors and illustrators and filmmakers and cinematographers and stuff. But when you spend a lot of time in the novel format or any kind of just, purely written format, it can be very sort of isolating, right? And then when you go into the graphic novel zone, someone gets to surprise you. Someone gets to like show you their talent. Someone gets to add so much action and visual, call it visual thunder, just the visual dimension that you can't do. And it's a really rewarding part of the process. You get to just watch someone else's talent and be in awe of it. And it's really kind of a pleasant thing to be able to have in your life. And so graphic was the new thing. And getting back to your question about the
Mhm.
lines we try to straddle. So the one was kid and parent, but the other is in middle grade might be really aptly named middle, right? Because you're coming out of the zone of picture books, and we do some picture book work, and everything's really nice and it's very sweet. It might be cute and funny, but there's not a lot of edge to it, right? But kids, at that age, we're 8, 9, 10, 11, they're starting to explore the world more. They're starting to understand the stakes involved with certain things. But they're not, when you get to YA, maybe it's a little more, I don't know, it's a little different. Maybe it gets a little relationshipy. So they're kind of in that sweet spot of like, they have an appetite for a little more of the world, a little more action. They're starting to understand, sort of, I don't know, like clever insults or comebacks, that kind of thing. So the verbal dimension is pretty interesting. I might get one of my nephews will say something to me. I'm like, well, okay, all right, that's funny. So you kind of have to be in this zone of like, has some sweetness, has some good heart, but can be funny in new ways, verbally funny and some really kind of nice visual hijinks that you can't do at a younger age, and maybe wouldn't play so much at an older age when you get to sort of the YA target. So
I think, but it moves so fast. I mean, it's just like, and then for me, like, I want to keep going back to the art is so good too. Like, it moves fast. You read it and like, I do bring it back to like Mad Magazine with all the sound effects you guys put in here. And then it's like, okay, at the same time for kids to be able to, I mean, you've got the gang, it's the Seagull gang, really, with Birdsy, like he's ruling the roost, and the characters, I mean, that to me, I mean, I want to write this, like, honestly, because to me, isn't that the fun thing about developing this and making the characters and making all the names and the personas, and then like, oh, let them go for it in the book. But it's like, I think it sparks the imagination for kids and adults, because I love this kind of stuff. Like, to me, it's this is candy, and there's candy in there. We all want candy.
I
but
love,
I mean,
I love character. Character to me is the most fun. And I don't know if it was because I was kind of raised in sort of the golden age of the sitcom, right? Where you would spend 5-10 years with these people in your living room. So it was Cheers, Cosby Show, Seinfeld, Friends. You kind of had these, you just liked the people, and you kind of just wanted to see what was going on in their lives, and you wanted to see them more and more. And character, these types of characters, right, that you just want to spend time with. I think, I don't know if everyone feels the same way. It sounds like you do, but it was so formative for me, maybe. I don't know if that's why I like it, but I do. I think I go to character maybe first.
Yeah.
And then, story can come from the characters. What are their flaws? What are their needs? What are their ambitions? What roles are they playing in their little world? And are they suited for that role or not suited for that role? But when you've got great characters that you want to spend time with, then you can answer all those questions in a bunch of different ways and over a bunch of
to different
episodes.
places.
Yeah.
I mean, because this one is, they're on the boardwalk, and here comes, listen, seagulls. I can't even, I could tell stories about seagulls all day long. Seagulls, monkey, like they do steal your food. Like, they do. And you're right. They're like a gang.
They have criminal tendencies.
They do. And they are like a gang,
do.
and they know, like, we were just in Long Beach, Washington State, the longest beach in this peninsula. And it's windy as hell. Like, really, people go out there to just fly kites. And when you get out of the car, the seagulls come after you because they want your food. They know you have food somewhere. The only reason you're getting out of your car is to fly a kite or give them food, according to them. Yeah. And then when you get in the car, they hop on your car, and they will go to we opened sandwiches, and we had this entire dialogue, and I felt bad, but I didn't. This is what because they sat on the windshield looking at us like, you're eating a sandwich. You need to give it to me now. And we're going, nanny, nanny, nanny. We have glass, and he's like, oh yeah. And when you want to get out, I'm going to get you. Like, they surround your car, and it is like this. It is like The Godfather, but it's
Yeah,
the
it's like
Gullfather, and
it's a racket.
it is. And I've had them like, I remember in South Africa, there's this one place everybody knew, do not get, we call them chips over there, French fries. The seagulls will come after your French fries. 100%. They want them. They'll get them. And they also move out of ocean areas into, I've seen them in Illinois in lakes. Like, what the hell are you doing there? What were you doing in Chicago?
It's like in Casino when the mob first goes to Vegas.
Yeah, exactly.
Some
There's stuff going
open
on.
territory.
I know. Like, I feel like I love that you're doing more series of this, because it's like so fun to read and visualize. But for kids, like, what is about going into just having a kid read remember Archie and all of that stuff, Archie and Jughead and all of that, just that you wanted those books, and they were treasured, and you traded them for all kinds of things. And you didn't want to always part with your comic books, but this to me it's a graphic novel, but at the same, it's like, I don't know, I feel like our generations now want something a little bit more than their phone. I know everyone's yelling at me, no, they only want to be on their phone. Actually, I think they do want something that's special.
Yeah, and that's the hope, right? And I mean, it's kids of that age, particularly, I think from a neurobiology perspective, they don't have their prefrontal cortex fully developed at 7. So they wouldn't make the best decisions if you left them to their own devices, and that's where parents come in. But I think they do want something, but they don't necessarily know how to be directed toward it, or maybe exert the choice sometimes. But that's where parents come in, right? But also there needs to be an option to give them, right? That'll be somewhat palatable, right? You can't take the smartphone away and give them Shakespeare. It's just
no.
Not yet, at some point, but you can build up to that, and we think that's maybe the role a graphic novel plays, especially a fun and character-driven one that has a lot of visual dynamism. That we hope it can be one of those things. It's like, hey, just check this out. Put the phone down for a second and check this out, and if you like it, I'll get you another one. And and then it's not. It's kind of like the sugar with the medicine, right? You're not going to hate it. I mean, you like it, you'll like it, but that immediate thing of like, okay, turn off the gaming console and read, right? That's a really hard sell. But turn off the gaming console and check this out. That maybe a little bit easier of a jump.
But I think it's got inspiration for creativity when you read something like this. To me, like, it's so much fun because of the character names, because of the characters. Like, I'm addicted to the characters. I mean, Berta Bella, I want to create, I love it because it kind of goes, I'm a songwriter way back when, and at the same time it's like I kind of almost feel like it's the same thing in a way, or it's similar, where when you write a song, you have to keep it short, and okay, there's rhyming or not rhyming, however you're going to write it, but it's got to have a rhythm. And if you're going to write about people, make him a character, like Bob Dylan, right? He's really good at doing characters in a song. And that's kind of like, to me, when I'm reading this, it's like these characters come to life, and all I want to do is write them. Like, you make me want to write stuff. You're like, oh, we forget the fun of characters and all of that storytelling magic. And so for, the youth reading this, I'm hoping that they get that. But I also think that, like I was saying about you guys not talking down to kids, like everything has to have this huge moral message, and, it gets to a point, and moral messaging and all of that, I'm all a fan of. But I actually really think kids of today need some levity. They're going through hell. They're going to school. They're having to think about, am I going to get shot in school? There's climate change. There's all of these pressures happening. Who knows what's happening at home with family pressures? And, it gets worse as they get older, right? That they need some levity, because don't we all, when we look at kids, go, don't we all want to be a kid again? And I think that's probably why you do what you do too. It's like, hey, it's
Yeah.
fun.
Well, that's very explicitly, we said, let's write something that the 8-year-old in us would want to read, and
Yeah.
it sounds cliche, but I mean, it was very much like, I would want, what's something that I would think is funny? What's a joke that I would think is funny at 8? And maybe it would be the kind of joke or scene that someone's like, oh, don't laugh at that. And you're like, man, it's funny. I'm laughing at that.
I still
Like,
laugh at that stuff. Seriously, to this day, I'm one of those. Like, it's still funny.
yeah.
I
And,
remember my jokes from 8 years old.
you bring up a really good point about the need for levity. And, a lot of stand-up comedians talk about this. And I think the role of comedy now, I think maybe it's kind of in an in-between place of sort of trying to figure out like what its role is. That's sort of like one of my personal kind of theories is, but there used to be comedy shows on the biggest shows were the comedy shows, the Friends, even 20 years later, the streaming services were saying that Friends and The Office were their, most viewed shows. But you look at new shows coming out, there aren't a ton of comedies. They're just sort of straight up comedy. There's some, and there's some decent ones, but yeah, there aren't a ton. And I think we were surrounded by that as kids. And I don't know, maybe in just, in your neighborhood, you had characters, jokers, and it just seemed to be a little more pervasive. And I think, I don't know if it's just, it was COVID, it was just, there's more dangers out there, like you said. It's a little bit of a scarier world, maybe.
Well, but there's being observant, and that's the problem with the phone stuff, right? And so the phone is always, you're not observant. You become this numbskull walking around. We do, as we travel, we always watch these people walk around. People walk across the street with their phone in their face, and they could get hit, right?
Wow.
And kids too. And the adults are doing it around the country. So what are the kids going to follow, right? And so it becomes this numbing thing. And I'm not, perfect at this at all. I'm always like, oh no, I have to answer this now. No, I don't, but I do. It's like that ding, ding, ding needs to go away. I call it the ding, ding, ding syndrome of notifications and all of that stuff. But when you think about the youth and hey, we live once, or maybe we come back, which would be fun. I hope I come back as like, Whoopi Goldberg, so I can ghost her. But it's kind of, when kids are kids, like, go out and play in the dirt, be inspired, be observant. They are so observant if we don't let them just feast on the phone, right? Because then they're in that zone. It's like if you watch people in a casino at the penny machines, they become these zombies. Like, they're literally just keep hitting the machine to keep going. While they're, you might as well, you just drool and fall asleep. Oh, it sounds like Congress. But anyway, just keep pushing that button instead of actually enjoying the game. They become this robotic thing. Whereas kids, like, growing up, man, we were looking at worms, we were, giving them names, like, and that's what I think about your book is like so cool, is like getting into the characters, getting to the names, so that they start to identify with their surroundings and do the same thing too. That inspiration, that observance, because you can't build a character without being observant, right? And so for kids to get into characters instead of glossy Hollywood stuff, characters. And, I look at what's happening in movies and streaming and stuff. I think a lot of people are into some of the streaming stuff because it's kind of like England does really good on character development, characters in their shows. You could have the most famous actor, or Judi Dench will come in and just do a cameo with this perfect scene of just this crazy character that comes in just for that scene and be happy to do it and not have to be all glossed up. And I think that we're getting to that point, hopefully, in this country, that we can, through streaming and Netflix, Hulu, all of that, that we're getting to character-driven content versus the glossy fakeness. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna get myself in trouble, but you know what I mean? It's like, let's get down to some stuff so we're reality-based, because humans don't have a normal, easy life. There's no such thing as anything being glossy. in life. And the sooner kids understand characters and get that endearment of, oh yeah, like One Wing Grella, right?
Yeah.
Right there, that becomes humor yet acceptance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of shows now where I find myself wondering who I'm rooting for. Like, I'm just like, wait a minute, why am I watching this? I don't particularly like any of them. And, sometimes it's handled really well. I thought Breaking Bad handled it amazingly in terms of sometimes you're rooting for Walter, sometimes Hank, sometimes Jesse, sometimes Hank, they kind of would pull you different directions. I thought that was kind of a masterclass in how it's done. But there's a lot of shows now where like everyone's just kind of bad. and I just, I don't know. I don't personally, at some point I have to, stop and tell myself, because it's kind of addictive. But I say, what am I getting? What do I feel when I watch this? How do I feel at the end of this? And then when you watch something where you root for someone, despite their flaws or because of their flaws, that even when they do something bad, there's, like you said, there's something endearing about them, or there's an intent, or there's a wound, that we can all identify with. Like those, I think those kinds of things, we can bond with those things because, they're us in some ways, or there's someone we know, or there's someone we care about. And I think that's what it comes down to, right? Do I care about this person? Do I care about this character?
Yeah. I'm 100% with you on that. I think it's getting to reality, because it's understanding your people next door, that observancy, and hey, they're battling with this, and this part may be funny, but have some humanity, right? And humanity is funny as hell. It is. I'm sorry. People are funny. And so are animals and birds and seagulls. I can't rave, enough about what you guys have put together. So you said you've got a couple more in like the hopper ready to go. So this is gonna keep going. The Gullfather train will keep moving.
Yeah, they're not, I wouldn't say they're quite ready to go, but yeah, they're in the hopper, and we've got some storylines. And sort of like, want to start thinking about it like TV, where you have like a season, right? So maybe there would be a certain amount of books where there's a bigger arc, but a lot of those kind of smaller arcs are playing out in each one. But we wanted to wait a little bit and see what people were responding to. Did they like certain characters, certain things about the characters, and just for a little bit of guidance, just so we didn't charge ahead and write 3 books and not kind of have any feedback especially from kids. It's funny when you talk to them, the stuff that they pick up on or like is something maybe you didn't think about. And you want to be able to give them more of that, right? Because at the end of the day, we do want kids to like this and to want to choose these books. And trying to get some of those readers to tell us what they're liking and where they get excited or where they laugh. The thing you say about writing a joke for your 8-year-old self, that you think that an 8-year-old, you would laugh at that, but you don't know. And so, talking to a few 8-year-olds,
different times.
To see what they're laughing at. And
it's different eras, different things that everyone's going through now, and but I think just having that escape for kids, books have always been this amazing escape because it's just you and the book. It's not your friends telling you what. You can have a conversation with your friends about it and carry on about it, but when it's you in the book, it's you in the book. Your imagination can go where it wants. No one can tell you anything. It's about you in the book and your imagination. And there's something incredibly powerful about that.
I was going to say, that's exactly what I was going to say. The right book is really powerful. Narrative and character. I think as humans, we're hardwired for story and for, bonding with character, bonding with people, bonding with others who might be, friends or allies, from an evolutionary perspective. And we had Christmas in my house this year. My nephews came up to Montana with, my sister and husband, and my younger nephew, he's right in the age range for this book. So kind of a perfect target demo, but the book wasn't finished yet. Hit the first present he opened on Christmas. And this is, when there's a million presents under the tree and I want to open all of them The first one he opened was a graphic novel for his favorite book series. I think it was Captain Underpants. And he started reading it and read through the entire rest of the President's Opening, like zoned out, was so into his book. And I was like, if the book is that powerful that it can take him away from basically what is crack for kids, Christmas morning, like a million gifts for you. And he's just zoned out. He's checked into his book. And I was like, wow, books really can be, powerful, and character can be powerful. So it gave me hope that you can really kind of connect and they can, he chose the experience of reading over everything else that was going on around him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We had basically to say, hey, there's another present for you. He's like, oh, okay.
But were they books, physical books, or like digital?
Yeah. No,
physical
book, yeah.
Okay. So will kids get, the Gullfather on, physically, like hardback or paperback or Kindle? Like, how's that going to work for kids?
Yeah, both are available. There's a black and white hardcover. There's a soft cover color, just because of printing costs. It's kind of And
I understand printing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the color hardcover full color would have been prohibitively expensive. And there is going to be a Kindle version. We're working with Amazon now to get that all uploaded and finished.
Oh.
And Amazon has a new thing, and I forget what they call it, but the way you can view it when you actually create the book in the software is you can go like frame by frame and you can zoom into all the different panes.
Oh, that's sweet. I was going to ask you about that because I kind of feel like this could take a step into animation, like that moves,
That's kind of how it feels when you watch this Amazon thing, because it'll look, the viewer kind of zooms from pane to pane, and some of the panes get really big, and so it has a nice effect, at least in the preview software when I was looking at it. So and it's the kind of art that just looks good on a screen, right? It's just really.
I think for kids, whether it's paper or not, it's the messaging, and I think because it's so character driven and it shows unity as teamwork, I feel like because it's seagulls and not people, that they can it gives a separation from people drama, but allows them to look at people from a different perspective, with it being more humorous and fun, and going, God, I have a friend just like this. Now I understand my friend better.
Yeah, sometimes easier, right? To see it in kind of like an abstraction, right? As opposed to, when you create if you create a human character, they're probably thinking about that character and whether they like that character annoys them or not, but they don't.
And then you have to make them look like a Barbie doll, something like that. And then that creates a whole big drama. Yeah. Sorry.
Which is a movie that's coming out soon. The Barbie movie. Yeah, it's a big Barbie movie.
Oh boy.
But yeah, when you do it like with a little bit of an abstraction, right? I think they can bond with it in a different way and understand it like in sort of just a general sense. So I think seeing these seagulls with like personality types, they don't get caught up in that person's
seagull thing cracks me up.
Yeah.
As soon as I heard it, I was just like, I have to know about this. Like the Gullfeather cracked me up hysterically, like immediately. I want to know about this. It's funny because they are like the gang. They are like, Nancy and I think it was Point Reyes National Seashore we were at, and there were seagulls, there were seahawks, as you know about them. Mm-hmm. And they were dipping and diving down with her friend and his little daughter. Oh, she was so cute. She wanted to make fairy dwellings and all the flowers, which was cool. It's the cool thing about traveling with and being around, like we do our adult stuff, but then when you go in parks with kids, you like the observancy level goes on like, the 100% on the meter. You have like, they trip out, man. They create fantasies out of everything. And it's like, wow, okay, let's go back to that. That's fun. But we all ate sandwiches next to vultures eating a carcass, and we're sitting there going, like we're just a few driftwoods down kind of thing. And we're going, people would never understand that we're eating lunch, watching vultures eat their lunch. This is not normal. This is not normal. And seagulls are there going like, where, what about me? You know,
Yeah.
it was like, because they do dog people. Like, you know, when they like, you know,
Yeah, they
there's a
do.
dogfight thing. They really do. They create a frenzy too. They know how to do that. Like quail do that. Birds, like quail birds, create this flurry and frenzy as part of their tactics to, um, you know, protect their babies and, you know, kind of just, you know, distract the attacker.
Hmm.
It's like, where did everybody go? And fowl do this. Guinea fowl are really good at it. Like you don't know who, what, and where because they're all over the place running around, and it's crazy. And we call them Edith bunkers. The guinea fowl. I mean, if you watch them, and you know, we've taken care of guinea fowl, and you know, obviously in Africa they were all over, but they seem complete dingbats. But
Yeah.
they're not like what we've watched guinea fowl take out a really evil-tempered rapist of a rooster. Just they corralled him, took him down to the water, and the coyotes got him. And he was
Wow.
raping all the chickens. I call him the rapist rooster, but he was a bad, like mean rooster, and he attacked he had Nancy cornered for 30 minutes and was flying at it, and he was flying at everybody. He was just one of those roosters, and you know, other people would put him to fight, which is horrible.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm not a fan of that at all. But the guinea fowl, and people get roosters when they have a bunch of chickens and hens to protect the hens, and they had guinea fowl. Well, the guinea fowl took out the rooster, so I'm going, why are you doing this? But anyway, these guinea fowl surrounded the rooster and led him down the hill to the river, and we never saw the rooster again.
That's
So there you
wild.
go. I
Yeah.
know, but this is what birds do. Birds are smart beings. They're ancient. They are flying dinosaurs, and seagulls have been doing it for years, and they're beautiful. I think they're gorgeous. I photograph them all the time and talk to them. They're beautiful, and yet at the same time, don't mess with them. They will
Yeah.
get you. They will take your food.
Totally. No, you know, and birds are surprisingly good at teamwork, like you were saying. I'll watch it with hawks and eagles, how
Mhm.
they'll get mobbed by smaller birds. And it's a tactic. It's called mobbing, which is funny because we wrote
Yep.
a mob book.
So
But
do you
yeah, it's
guys,
where
oh
they'll,
my God. Yeah, go ahead. I want to
yeah,
ask about your research.
unintentional fun. But yeah, that's how they'll sort of like chase a predatory bird off. They'll, you know, several will come in and you know, the hawk or you know, the bird of prey won't know who to go after and won't know what to do, and doesn't have kind of a clear target, and another one will be, you know, pecking here and there, and usually they drive the offending bird off.
They do. I've seen like little birds go after a big bird, like raptors, and take
Yeah.
them out. Like
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
you're not coming near my nest. Screw you. I'm pushing you out. But did you like, okay, crows and ravens, that's a whole other like conversation because
Oh yeah,
they're
magpies
brilliant.
too. Magpies.
Oh, I love magpie. You have magpies where you are, don't you?
See them every day.
Oh my God, I love magpies.
Really
Like
smart.
seriously. God, they're so beautiful. And when we lived in Mexico, we had mag jays,
Oh yeah.
and they're a cross between a blue jay and a magpie, and they have these beautiful long tails. Oh my gosh, they're the most beautiful, and they're big. They're almost like half the size of a peacock,
Hmm.
and just beautiful. I mean, maybe that's just because I just thought they were so grand. I might be over exaggerating on them, but they're so
In
gorgeous.
your mind, they're as big as.
Listen,
Yeah.
I really am. Yeah, I am over exaggerating on them. They're so
I
beautiful,
wouldn't know. I'm gonna take you at your word here.
but they're beautiful. Like they really are. They're so regal, you know. Um, but we were talking about birds. Did you guys sit and go, okay, now we have to go do our gull research and start like geeking out on bird books? Did you
No,
have
we
to go to
didn't.
Sibley's?
No, you almost don't want to do too much, right? Because then
Yeah.
you become too beholden to it, and you kind of want to, you know, stay in this world of, I don't know. We think a bird's doing human stuff anyway. Like let them just do whatever they
Yeah.
want. Like at what point are you adhering too close to? Are you creating things you have to adhere to? And you know, just from when we were in school at the East Coast, and Jeff is from Long Island, so but we would do summers on the shore and stuff. So just the experience, just a lot of experience with the seagulls and watching them and funny. You'd see a seagull with a cigarette butt in his mouth, and he'd look like an old
I like the one with the
steelworker or
candy
something.
cane.
Yeah,
The
exactly, old sweet beak. So
That's awesome.
we just saw, we kind of just drew from what we saw, and then you take liberties. If you get too close, then you're kind of writing a nature book.
You've lost it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're doing a science report. I
Yeah,
know.
you lost the whole point that you're doing gangster birds, seagulls. So
Exactly. Gangsters can do what they want and bend the rules. So, okay. So I know you've got more in the works, which is awesome. And so I want everyone to know The-Gullfather.com. But do you ever want to see this in motion, like on the screen?
absolutely.
Because,
Yeah.
oh,
Absolutely.
it'd be so much fun. It would. Would
Yeah,
you
and
keep
that
it
was-
in the same kind of format though? And like, you know what I mean? In that kind of comic format, or would you want it to be
keeping
the
the kind of
characters?
illustration, like not changing the illustration to like 3D.
Right.
Like it has a little bit of a noir kind of, some of the color, the color palette's kind of interesting. It's not super bright,
Mhm.
saturated. Like some of the colors are a little more muted, and yeah, I think we'd like to set that style and but just take that style, take that style to the screen. I think the way the characters talk and their dialogue is
Oh
is
God,
sort of
yeah.
ripe for seeing it on screen, and that's that was our background before books was
Right.
screen. So yeah, absolutely. But it's not to say that this was only done as a vehicle to get to screen. It was, again, it's a celebration of character and then just being silly and getting people to read. And that's how we started when we were young, right? It was reading. And I think
Mhm.
if you start there, then you can, later in life, you can write a TV show, or you can write all kinds of things. You can write a journal, you can write a movie, you can write a book. And so rather than just go straight to the screen, I think the graphic novel format's a nice exploration, and it's also just a tribute to the sort of time and place that we fell in love with reading.
I love it because I think when you go from screen, you have to keep things short. You can't write the novel. You can't get too wordy. Like
Yeah.
I was talking about songwriting. Like
Yeah.
you can't. I mean, you can have a 10-minute song, but you better have some damn good stuff in it. You
Yeah.
can't, be blithery. Or if you want to write Free Bird, go ahead. We're tired of it now, but
Yeah.
it's still a good song. But
Yeah.
no matter what, it's still
Totally.
a good song.
Stairway,
But
it's still good.
it's still a good song. It's just overplayed.
Listen
So-
to some Grateful Dead's Dick's Picks with like a 40-minute Dark Star.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
do
it
all that
works.
stuff, but it does. But it's like at the same time, I think you've got to have, you guys both, that it has to be impactful. So when it comes to a book too, like this kind of thing, it has to have that impact and not be too wordy. And that's where the illustrations, just between the two things, it pops.
Yeah.
And it keeps you moving, but at the same time you want to linger. So that to me is what makes it such a good piece, that you're in it and you get into the characters and you do move through it fast, and then you go back because it's just too good to
Yeah.
zoom through it. You know what I mean?
Every art form, has its sort of lengths, right? And they're kind of evolved for reasons, right? And I mean, sitcoms used to have the 30-minute sitcom with commercial breaks. It was, 22, 24 minutes. But, songs, Taylor Swift's not out there singing 18-minute songs, right? She's singing songs that we've kind of grown accustomed to a certain length of, right? With hooks in certain places. And, TV, even with the really great episodic stuff we have now, even though it's longer than it used to be, something that might have been a movie in an hour and a half or 2 hours is now an 8-episode season. You still have to craft each episode in the right way so that people don't get bored. And some of that we've just become accustomed to, and it's intuitive, but we had to be aware of it here. And the illustrator kind of did a lot of things that helped out. Like you'll notice there's a lot of places where the sort of frames and panes are just broken up, right? Or things come out of a pane, or there are whole pages where just like The story is sort of told vignette style over the course of a page. And so that stuff is kind of nice. It sort of does, it breaks that sort of routine and makes things flow, gives it a sort of an actiony feel. And like you said, you can linger, and you can be pulled forward. But it's great, as many times as we've kind of seen it, sometimes I'll just pick it up and flip through and I'll land on a funny exchange and I'll laugh again, right? Or I'll flip through and I'll see a good illustration and I'll see something new and I'll say, oh, I didn't realize he did that. That's a really nice, it's a nice touch there. So yeah, hopefully it has all those things. And if it goes to screen at some point, this being an exploration of who these characters are is a nice way to do it, because, like I said, we like spending time with the characters and we like writing the characters, and they have, all the characters are always having fun with each other, and that's fun for us.
I love it. Yeah, it's so much fun, and I think it gets, I don't know, I think you just go into this other world, but then you can look at the world differently once you've read it.
Yeah,
I like it. And that's what good art does, is make some impact, whether you like it or not. If you feel something, that's the thing about art, makes you feel something, and that's the point. So I love it, and please keep us posted as you guys move forward with this. It's awesome, everyone. The-Gullfather-Birdsy-Seagulle is volume 1, a Seahawk situation. More is coming out. It's all done through Books Fluent. You can go to thegullfather.com. Also keep up with our friends over at booksforward.com, and right here on bigblendradio.com. We air every day, but every second Wednesday we talk about books and authors, and we definitely wanted to showcase this book. And it's a graphic novel, and how much fun can you get with that and seagulls? So thank you so much for joining us, Jake. It's been a real pleasure.
thank you for having me. Yeah, I had fun talking about it. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You take care, and keep on scribbling, right?
We'll talk to you when the next one's out.
Awesome.
Okay.